going back to the whole thing of Lori Harvey being passed around, like, and being considered a hoe, what makes a hoe? What is a hoe? How would you define a hoe?
I feel like you're not a hoe until you homewreck in other people's relationships.
Okay.
I don't care because because it's funny, we only call a hoe is really only reserved for women. You never call you rarely ever call a guy a hoe. When a guy is just going messing around with multiple women, he's just being a guy. But when a girl do it, she a hoe.
You got that community.
For me, you a hoe when you sleeping with somebody and you know they're in a relationship with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. That's
when you start ruining other people's relationships. That's when I feel like you being a hoe. But then,
so how do you feel about people that consider hoe, like, because I think another reason why Lori Harvey's situation is so, like, people are considering her hoe, considering her being passed around, is because she's dating famous men within the same industry. So what about the idea of, like, the person, would you consider a hoe as someone that dates people that are in the same, I guess, I don't want to say friend group, but I guess that are in the same field, industry, school, work?
Man, I went to high school where they used to switch girlfriends and it was okay. So it's like, if the friend group have a problem with it, maybe, but it really depends whose feelings is getting hurt in the process.
So you feel like if nobody's feelings is getting hurt, it don't matter?
I feel like, what is the definition of a hoe?
It's someone that's search it up. I think it's someone that sleeps around. I think it is.
But that's another thing. And when we're talking about a hoe, what connotation are we using with it? Are we talking about it in a negative way or in a positive way?
It's always talked about in a negative way.
It's always talked about in a negative way.
Because if the definition of a hoe is someone that sleeps around or someone that's promiscuous, then the person's a hoe.
To me, that's not a hoe. Like, you can do whatever you want. If you being safe with it, you can do whatever you want.
And if you're single too, it don't matter.
I just feel like when it gets a little bit messy when you're within the same friend group, and also when you go, let's say you was with you had a boyfriend, then y'all broke up, but let's say you cheated on him with like his best friend or something. That's when you're doing too much.
That's the only reason I feel like I would maybe consider someone a hoe is if it's kind of like the disloyalty, like what you said, like kind of if you're being a homewrecker, if you're sleeping with someone knowing that they're in a different situation, if you're with someone, you're committed to someone, and then you cheat on that person with another person. Like, I feel like that's the only time that I would probably use those terms. But I feel like because you're saying something about like when you're messing with people in the same friend group or whatever the case is, or like the person that gets passed around when it's like they done fucked everybody in the basketball team or whatever the case is. I want to question on that. I want to question that because why is it that we would, because from what I'm realizing is that we would consider someone a hoe when they're sleeping with people, like I said, that are in the same, how do you say it? That are in the same
friend
group, work, industry, school, like they're in the same, whatever you want to say. They're
circle.
Exactly. They're in the same circle, right? Because I feel like that's the only reason why Lori's being considered a hoe is because it's the fact that she's messing around with people, or I'm not gonna say messing around, dating people that are in the same industry, that are in the entertainment industry, right? But I feel like if Lori Harvey was dating, because let's use an example, because this is the contradiction that I'm starting to see when people make this. Okay, so like, let's say Dionelys, let's me and you, okay? Let's say I'm messing with 4 people on the ball team, right? And let's say you messing with 20 people in 20 different states. You won't be considered a hoe, but I will. You get what I'm trying to say?
I wouldn't be considered a hoe, but
you wouldn't be considered a hoe, but I would be considered a hoe. Because simply for the fact that I'm messing with people that are in the same.
And I guess it depends on who knows your business.
I guess it depends on who knows your business.
But this is my thing. But there be guys that be sleeping with more than one women in like the same cheerleading team, but they don't look at him the same. So my thing is, if y'all want to put all this energy in calling a girl hoe, let's say because she's sleeping with the basketball team, but y'all not gonna come in here bro because he's sleeping with the whole girl. Like, why do we have that double standard? That's not fair. Why do we have that double standard?
They why but they'll uplift the guy like, yo, he fucked everybody in the team.
Like that happens.
But I want to go back to what you just said though. It depends on who knows your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really
because I'm honestly starting to feel like I really see this a lot. That it really what makes the difference is if the people you are sleeping with know each other.
Yeah.
Because, girl, I'm telling you, I could sleep with 100 different guys. But then one lives in Tokyo, one lives in London, one this, that. They will never know about each other. And I would not be considered a hoe.
Mm-hmm.
But the one girl, let's say the girl only slept with 2 people in her entire fucking life, but they were in the same basketball team. That's a fucking hoe.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel like the only thing 2 things that I guess defines what a hoe is. If people know who you slept with, and 2, if the people that you slept with know each other.
If they press too.